All right, hi. Here is my introduction to Trello. All right, so now every time when there is a group project, I always recommend using Trello to my students. But you're not limited to Trello. Actually, you can use Asana as well. There is, and if you go into the Office 365 package, there is also Planner available in the Office 365 account that you would have set up. Now, I do have an Asana account, so if you feel more comfortable using Asana, you can always create Asana and add me. And you can use the planner as well. The problem with planner is that you won't be able to add me to the planner. But really the place that I go often to is Trello. So if you use Asana, it might take me a while to remember that your project is in Asana. And if you use Planner, I won't be able to access it. So I don't recommend using Planner unless it's for projects that don't involve me, then sure, use Planner, right? So I really highly recommend that you use Trello once you're doing a group project. Now, why? Why would she say to us, use this service? Well, project management tools, and this is just overall, they help you to keep track of your project. And one of the things that drive people insane with group project is you don't know where your team members are with their projects, right? So Trello is a really good way for you to be able to keep track of what your team members are doing. And you can also use it as a communication tool. You can post works so that you can give suggestions as to how to improve or determine if your team member is going in the right direction, right? So this is Trello. And one last thing that I want to say is Trello, Asana, and Planner are free, and they each also have an app that you can store on your mobile device. So that's one of the reasons why I like them. There are tons of other project management tools that you can use, but most of them have a cost associated with it. And so I usually recommend Trello, Asana, and Planner to my students since they are free. And lastly, I want you to start getting accustomed to using these project management tools. When you go out into the real world, when you're working, the likelihood is you're going to see them using a project management tool. So it's best you start getting yourself comfortable with using a project management tool. It might not be Trello, it might not be Asana, it might not be Planner, but you're now comfortable with using these project management tools. So it's not this alien experience when you go out into the working world. All right. So I already have my account. If you don't have an account, just sign up. As I said, it's free. And just ensure that you've added the information when you're signing up, whether it's again Trello, Asana. Well, Planner, you wouldn't be creating an account for Planner, right? But you will just simply click on Planner in your service, okay? In your Office 365 account. All right, now a company called Atlassian, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. They have acquired Trello. So we're in the process. When at the point when I've created this video, we're in the process of transferring over. So if you had created your account before the acquisition, you might be going through the same process I'm doing now. So I put in my email address, then it says I need to log in with Atlassian, and it is going to ask me for my password, and then I have access to Trello. It's taking forever. I don't know why it's taking so long. All right, so some of the things that you'd want to do with Trello is, of course, list out everything that is to be done for the project. And my recommendation is that you have one person that is laying out the board in Trello. And my recommendation is that that person is the team leader. Now, team leader does not mean that that person is doing all the work, right? Team leader is just a person to ensure that the project is on schedule and everyone is contributing what they need to contribute. Okay. And when you're doing up these projects as well, and as you can see, I'm trying to buy time because it's still loading, right? Not sure if there's something wrong with my internet. All right. Well, we'll see what's happening. Yep, there we go. There is something wrong. There we go. You so quickly it did that. That was so mean. That was so mean. That was so mean. All right. So as I was saying, you're gonna lay out all the things that are to be done. And then you're gonna assign each, so team leader is gonna assign each person what is to be done. What is to be done. And there we go. And the date, most importantly, the date that it should be done by, right? And I always recommend you never set your deadline for the due date of the assignment. So the assignment is due August 1. Do not set all of your deadlines to be August 1. You want to give yourself some time, even if it is 2 days, really a week before the assignment is done. The reason why you want to do that is if there are any errors, if there are any things that need to change, you have time to spot those issues and fix them. All right. So these are stuff that you want to take into consideration when coming up with those deadlines. When assigning tasks as well, most of the time I notice students usually say, okay, here is everything that should be done. And they look at the whatchamacallit, every part of the production. There might be persons who can contribute otherwise. So you want to take all of what needs to be done into consideration when setting up your project on Trello. I'm looking at it and I'm hoping. Using my mental ability to will this thing. All right. It looks like I'm not strong enough. I don't have the force with me. Well, great. I just want to be like Luke. Now I know I don't have the force. All right. Hmm. All right. So I had to pause the recording a while ago because it was taking too long to go to Trello. All right. So I'm sure your Trello looks completely different from mine. Now to create that new board, you just click on the plus and it's gonna ask you, create a new team, business team, and a new board. I always suggest create a new team first, right? And this team that you're gonna create is actually the team for the project, right? So I don't know whatever you wanna call it, anim 1001 stop motion team. I don't know, stop motion team. I don't know, whatever you wanna call it. I'm just calling it test team. 3248 business plan team, whatever you want to call your team, you can, right? Now you can choose from, some stuff there. I never, that's a new option, right? And you can give a description of your team if you so desire. All right, and then now you're gonna input the email addresses of each member of the team. So, right, and that popped up a while ago because I already had an account, right? All right, and there it is. It created the team, and then now, so you have all the boards that's associated with that team, the members of the team, and you can also see. So in this case, two of me. You're not seeing doubles, and the settings. Now, when you're adding me, guys, this is the account. You're gonna put in at Chevanese White, or you're gonna put in my email address, chevanese.white@gmail.com. Okay. And from here, you can remove people from the group if needs be. You can make them administrators or not. Okay. And then of course there is a setting. So when the project is completed and you're wrapping up, you can also delete the team if so desired. All right. And then now you can create the board. So create new board. And one of the cool things with Trello, well, first before that, we'll put in the name. And again, you can put in whatever the name of the project is. Okay. I only ask once you're sharing it with me that the course code is in the name so that I can keep track of what course this project is associated with. So if it's ANIM 1001, if it's COM 3248, if it's ANIM 2021, any courses, and ANIM 1020, whatever the course is that I am lecturing you in, please ensure that the course code is in the name of the project. Now, once I'm creating it, you notice it's automatically set to test team. I could have changed it if I wanted to, but I don't. Do I want to make the team visible? Is it a private board? Only board members can see and edit this board. Team, all members of test team can see and edit this board. That's what I like. And public. In this case, I do not recommend going public. because then anyone who is in Trello can see your board. Okay. Then now you can pick images of the background of the project if you want, or you can choose colors if you so desire. And there you go. So you have options. I got options. All right. And once you've selected something, so let me use, okay, let's use gold, create board. Now, I'm going to show you two ways in which you can flesh out this project, but one of the cool things with Trello and Asana and Planner is that you can organize it how you want to organize it, okay? So, first and foremost, I would invite the members of my team. All right, so test team, send invitation, and then that person is added. I know who is the administrator because those two little up arrows that are on the photo, it's there. Now, when you're creating your Trello profile, please, add a photo, put in your name. I've had, so here it is, your profile, put in your name. I've had some students use some weird names and it's difficult to tell who is who, right? So, add a photo, add an appropriate name, use your Maimona email address or an email address that you're gonna view often properly, okay? All right, so here's one way you can organize the board. You can have a list. This is what we're creating now. You can have a list that says to do, one that says in progress. Yeah, and I'm just pressing the enter key. And then you can have one that says completed or done, right? And I don't need to create anymore. Another one that I tend to do as well, I usually have something like project files for teamwork. Here's, don't be shocked. I'm just clicking it with my left mouse button and just dragging it. And the only time I release is when it's where I want it to be, and then I release the left mouse button. All right, so those were the lists. Then I can create cards. So let me use, I like to use the planning a party example, because I'd love to plan a party, or if anybody wants to plan a party for me, cool. All right, anyway, don't listen to me. All right, so it could be photographer. So now I'm creating a card, right, for each list. So photographer, videographer, location, food is important. Yeah, and just leave it at that. I don't need any more cards. And all I was doing before was just typing and pressing the enter key. All right. Now I can go inside each card. So for photographer, and in a case like this for group projects, I would suggest adding a description for each one of these cards, because in your head you might give it a name. You might give the card a name and think, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then your team members read it and go, what am I trying for sec? Right? So my suggestion is that you write an appropriate description. So for photographer, because photographer can mean anything, could be get photographer, confirmed photographer. It could be photographer's information. So photographer, the name is not enough to tell you what this thing is, right? So go through the yellow pages and find appropriate photographer. Place list in a checklist below and save that. All right, so that's the description. Then you want to add members. So who is going to be working on it? And you can have more than one person, so you can't say Chevy and alter ego Chevy. No. Right, so it could actually be more than one person's. You just check. It's floppy me in front of them. There we go. Right. Or it can just be one person, right? But make sure that it's assigned to someone. Labels are another way to keep track of things. And in the next method, I'm gonna heavily use labels. So right now, I won't tell you about labels just yet. I'm gonna show you in the next method how you utilize labels, right? So let's say now we've gone through the yellow pages and we're creating a checklist. We can rename the checklist if we want, so because you can have more than one checklist. But right now I'm gonna call it checklist. Mass Paul GB photography, so on and so forth. You can actually have a checklist. Now the checklist can also work in a different way. So let's say there's a checklist of things to do. So find supplies, store supplies in closet, recheck supplies. That can be another way that you do checklists. And the cool thing again with Trello, Asana, and Planner is that you can, as you are completing what you're supposed to do, you can check off to say, yes, this was done. Or in this case, where I added a checklist of photographers, it could be you're eliminating photographers until you found the thing. So you can use checklists. There's no one way to use Trello. That's what I'm trying to get to, right? Of course, as I was explaining before, you can set a due date and time. So July 31st at 4:54 a.m., whatever. You can even set reminders, for the person to say, hey, it's 2 days before, remember that you have this thing to do, right? You can attach files. Now, once you're attaching files in Trello, my recommendation is you have some kind of folder, online folder that you're sharing where you share it with specific email addresses. So if you have a OneDrive folder for the team, Dropbox for the team, a Google Drive for the team, it doesn't matter. Just make sure that that folder is shared with specific email addresses. So when you've posted the link to the items when you've done the attachments in Trello, everyone, the whole world will have access to your files, right? The person will still have to log in order to see the information. Or that's if you're sharing files specific to the project. Or let's say you found a video on YouTube that explains how to do something. You can attach that link. Let's say there is a scene that shows how you want the production to look. Or a specific move, and you found it on YouTube or you found it somewhere else, some kind of resource. You found a step-by-step blog, a blog that gives step-by-step instructions on how to do something. You can grab that link and attach it as well. So this is one of the cool things with Trello again, and you can see you can bring it up from multiple sources, but My suggestion is not to upload from your computer, because again, if someone gets access to your Trello board, it's easy for them to see what it is that you are sharing, okay? So be careful with how you share it. All right, now you can also add, you can also attach images and stuff, and that will set a cover, or you can actually set a cover for your Trello board. So let me add this photo. As you can see, when we step out, you see what that looks like. When we come out of the card, you see what that looks like. All right. And the others I can show you later, right? So once we come out, you can see an image, right? And that was a cover. You don't have to set a cover if you don't want to. It's not a big deal. And as you can see, it's saying that I'm following this card. It shows the due date. It tells me that there's a description, and it tells me how much of the checklist I have completed, 1 of 2 in the checklist, and it shows me who is assigned. All right. Now, what I would suggest is list out everything that should be done in the to-do. Once somebody start working on it, you can just simply grab it, and I'm just holding my left mouse button and I'm dragging it over, and then I release my left mouse button. And now you know that it's in progress. And then of course, when it is done, you can drag it over to done. Right? So this gives you a nice bird's eye view as to how much of the project is to be done, how much is in progress, and how much is actually completed. Okay? One more thing that I forgot to tell you is when you've added me to your board, I want you to give me administrative rights. So just click on my image, which of course would be this one. But since I am the administrator for this one, I'm showing you how you do it for someone who is not you, right? So there it is, change permissions, and just set the person to admin. So just give me admin rights as well. And that's how you set up, that's one method of setting up your Trello board. All right, so let me show you another method. Oh, let's do this. Another method could be that you have each person's name. So Chevy, Patricia. I don't know where I get this name Patricia from. Tom. All right, so everything that Chevy is supposed to do, it's in Chevy's list. Everything that Patricia is supposed to do is in Patricia's list. Everything Tom's supposed to do is in Tom's list, right? And I promised I was going to show you these labels. All right. So I like to use the color codes. All right. Oh dear. All right, so I'm very strange with my color coding. So you can press the little edit beside so you can add a label to the color. So again, to do, save, yellow for in progress, and red is done. Now I always have this debate with my students. I go, Miss, why you have it? Why you use those colors? This is a stoplight, right? So green means go, right? So the project needs to go. And then red means stop. Yeah. So don't do no more work on it, right? So so now because you have these labels, you can now assign, so let me show you another way. You can now assign the labels. So let's say you start out and everyone's label is set to do, right? Everyone's label is set to do. And then now, as the project goes on, it could be in progress, it could be done. So then again, now you're able to track. You get a bird's eye view of where the project is, right? And in the project files, these are just stuff. So you can create a card like with the link for the Dropbox folder, stuff. If it's like the assignment or so, the project files, you can drop that in there as well. So again, it's just information that everyone should have access to. It's not specific to a particular task or a particular person. It's just other. So I usually have that list as well. Now, if it is that you're communicating with your classmates, your teammates, sorry, and you want to do more, so let me just give you some more information on this. So you can change the background, add stickers, and you guys can play around with those stuff, right? You can change the settings and blah, blah, blah. What you can do is you can copy the link to the board and you can share that link with your teammates so they know they can get direct access to the board if needs be, or once they've been added to the Trello board, well, they would have to set up the Trello account first and then you add them as a team member. But once that is done, once they log into Trello, they'll see the project listed, right? All right. And then once the project has been wrapped up, now something that persons don't usually do when they're working on a team, as soon as the project is submitted, them go, oh, we're done. Glory, hallelujah. Every time at the end of a project, you should have a postmortem. What went well, what didn't go so well, and how we could improve that. So that way, the next time you have a teamwork to do, you can do it better next time around, right? And that whether you're using the same team or not, it doesn't matter. That postmortem is important. And then once you've concluded with your postmortem, you can always, your team members can leave the board if they so desire. And then the project leader, the team leader, can close the board, which what that means is now nobody has access to it. The information has been closed out, right? Which is what I'm going to do. And I usually say, so you can reopen the board by clicking the boards menu from the header, selecting view close boards, right? So you can have the option of going back to the board if you want. So you can reopen it if you want to. But since this was a test one, and if you've completely ended with the project, you can always permanently delete the board if so desired. And that's it in regards to Trello. I hope this information was informative, and my apologies on pausing the video so often. But yes, Trello is an important tool. And as I said before, it can be Trello, it can be Asana, it can be Planner, but I strongly recommend Trello, as Trello is the way that we can best communicate with each other. All right. Bye.